People describe Nigeria as the giant of Africa, but I dare to ask, are we truly the giant that we say we are? We live in a country where politicians in their 70s who have no clue ruling us, or country made up of mainly youths. These politicians should have no business running a country as diverse as Nigeria. They do not understand what leadership entails and have gone beyond their sell-by date. For several decades, the youthful majority that constitute over 86% of the adult population has been marginalized or relegated to the background as far as leadership roles are concerned. We have wittingly, or should I say unwittingly, allowed this minority old segments of the people to continue to monopolize leadership position and determine our own future. Enough is enough. The question that agitates my mind is, how long will the youth or youthful population continue to sleep while the situation in this country continue to degenerate from bad to worse? 2023 presidential election is coming at a critical stage of Nigerians' democratic life, where we have a unique opportunity to awake the sleeping giant that is in us. And yes, I'm talking to our youth. Mr. Oladele, an activist, says it is time for youth o'clock. I agree. To come into 2023, we are the backbone of any nation. We possess physical and intellectual energies that matter, especially in the growth of the developing countries such as ours, Nigeria. We especially need it now when the present realities of politics in Nigeria portrays a system under siege by the actions or inactions and the reactions of the aging political drivers of this country. It is far cry from the shift that was obtainable in the post-colonial era, where the independence of this country was achieved in their youth. But again, we have the chance, an opportunity to invoke that same shift in this country, because this is our chance. The current leadership has eroded youthful participation and representation in the modern day politics, with financial hindrance to contesting elections. For example, for youth, the cost of election is very, very exorbitant because of the money politics practiced by Nigerian politicians that are particular candidates to decide to withdraw in a primary that was won over by money. Nigeria is riddled with insecurity, poverty, economic degradation, and political instability. I know we all pray that God will come down and aid, but if we can't wake up, sacrifice, and do the work, nothing gets accomplished. According to Waldo Emerson, once said, the world belongs to the energetic. It's apt in the struggle that fight for good governance in 2023 begins today. This country needs the young, energetic to catalyze developmental processes. The economy has been left to political hyenas and piranhas in the guise of old and supposedly witty leaders that are hell-bent on killing the economy with obnoxious policies. If you think for a moment I'm being insulting, can you explain the exponential increase of dollar at the expense of our dear naira? My parents told me that there was a time in this country when naira held as much more powerful value than the dollar. It was hard to believe such a statement about 35-40 years ago did happen. How do you explain the rampant and incessant killings and the rampant kidnapping in the nation? We can no longer travel in peace or without imagining the worst case scenario. Why are our public, primary, secondary school, and even university system under immense threat? The political outlook of this country is tarnished, and the need for a facelift by people who have tendencies to redeem Nigeria's image internationally is the youth, you and I, who have been sidelined. The youth must arise and change this situation once and for all. Because this deplorable situation is a wake-up call from the youth and populace to harness their political power through voting to change the governance. We can. If in doubt, take a walk down memory lane on October 22nd, 2020 of the EndSARS protest organized by the youth to protest police brutality. Frightened by the sheer powers and corporations of the youth, the government sent thugs to infiltrate and then use that as an excuse to disrupt the protest violently. What's my point? My point is that a unified youth community can threaten the elongation of their time in office. I do recall that the former First Lady, Michelle Obama, says, "You are giving your power to someone else who does not necessarily see the world the way you see the world. You are letting them make some key decisions. The truth is that they are hoping you will stay at home for them to make key decisions about how you will live." We must open our eyes widely to the choice of leaders, because the dream of a greater Nigeria can only be realized through the enthronement of a responsible, democratically government. Patutomi, quoting St. Augustine's famous word, "God who created you without you will not save you without you." He also said that the God who puts you in Nigeria without your permission will not solve Nigerians' problem without your efforts. Brilliant quotation. So if you must sell your vote, don't complain at the end of the day because you are complicit in the way the country will turn out. The same advice goes for the people who try to justify the reason for not going to vote, saying, "My vote won't count." Okay, Bakassi says that the Amajiri has a PVC, Gateman has a PVC, Shoe Shiner has a PVC, the bus driver has a PVC, but you, a student, a graduate, a young professional with all your exposure, still doesn't have a PVC. What an irony. For the sake of people who don't have this political power to change the political tapestry, it is your responsibility to perform your civic duty, because if you don't make it easy for the politician to bribe you or pay people to vote for them, they would not succeed. I am happy as the election draws near. More Nigerians have learned the lessons and are now trooping to Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to register your PVC is the key. When asked, a sizable number of you said they support Obi to change the status quo as represented by APC and the PDP. But despite the upsurge in the number of people seeking the PVC, it is not yet sure if this will translate to a massive turnout of voters at the poll. I'd like us to prove people wrong. Again, I do understand that there are reasons For the most part, elections in this country have been characterized by violence, rigging, poor government, and weak campaign, and even weak patriotism on the part of the electorate. Because of the money politics that perpetrated, for example, the PDP primaries, Peter Obi knew that breaking the field would be nearly impossible without getting his hands deep into bribing delegates. He saw the handwriting on the wall and knew that if he had gone through it, it would have become part of the problem. He knew that. So he became the first Nigerian politician to reject the evil money for vote politics. That singular decision made a lot of people happy and created a frenzy called the obedient movement. Many people believe in his candidacy, and I do. Obedience because they have listened to him, read about him, and looked at his track record as governor of Anambra State and decided he might be the vessel of our dreams for a better Nigeria. For those that need more convincing or are simply being detractors, I would like to point out this track record in Anambra State. Under Obi's tenure, became the first state in Nigeria to start a sovereign wealth savings, and he left the state with an equivalent of $500 million for his successor. The Senate also rated Anambra State as the most financially stable state in the country during his tenure. High commissioners from notable countries like the United States, Britain, Russia, the European Union, South Africa, and Canada, amongst others, visited Anambra for the first time when he was the governor. His administration also won the 1 million Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Prize as the best performing state in immunization in the Southeast political zone. His administration funded several hospitals, transformation through the church partnership. The administration also built the Joseph Mwilo's Health Center in St. Joseph, where heart operations are now being performed. Massive. Fantastic. Inosi Motors and Saab Miller, which is the second largest bureau in the world, came to Anambra and created jobs. His administration also revamped local vigilante groups so that communities were working directly with police in partnership and were closely monitored. These are some of his administration's achievements. Imagine if he can, for one moment, apply that in a national scale. Many people can see that the country is in a big mess and we are sitting on a massive deficit. So having a man who knows how to manage resources can turn things around. When two most powerful and influential political parties have spent nearly 24 years, solid years in power, squandered every opportunity they had to improve the country's affairs. It is so bad that people are yearning for a change. Yes, a change. The federal government has failed to enact the 2009 and 2020 negotiation with ASU, with the children still at home with no ideas when they can go back to school. I'm aware that some people also support Peter Obi because of his ethnic background. Igbos are the country's third largest ethnic group, but only had one ceremonial president. So, yes, Obi becoming president will see them being represented, but that's not all to his candidacy. What he did for the people of Anambra is what he wants to do for the entire country. He doesn't play into that tribalism and nepotism narrative. His policies are that of a reformer that will do us some good. There's no doubt that Peter Obi's candidacy is fast growing a massive momentum for unprecedented turnaround in this unfortunate country, our situation. For those saying that overwhelmingly in social media support does not translate to balanced vote, please prove them wrong and think back to the movement of NSAS and what they achieved. This is the point of determination, decision, and effectiveness of no return. And any move away from this critical point can see in the country's final collapse. I am not trying to put fear in anybody. Still, when this country is bleeding because of the political system has been sold and bought with sacks of dollars, we all need a ray of hope telling us we have the power to change the situation. And that ray of hope for most Nigeria is Peter Obi. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change Nigeria forever. Let's not waste it. This is our chance. We all need to become obedient as we are the structure, yes, to take Nigeria back to its glory. Become obedient.